Aurora C# is a spreadsheet game with minimal graphics. It represents a World War II naval-style campaign set in space. The game encourages you to create your own fun and roleplay along the way. Viewer discretion is advised. Lenny Calzado, a 16-year-old teenager from Palo Alto, California, dreams of the Aether dimension. This fluidic space coexists alongside normal reality and offers compressed movement. Lenny, a rock collector and proficient tumbler user, is drawn into the woods. Finding several rocks of unknown origin, his experiments would later unlock the 11 trans-Newtonian elements. Gathering seed money quietly, Lenny Calzado dropped out of high school to become a production magnate and investing genius. Experimentation with aether-dimensional movement allows transport aircraft to travel hundreds or thousands of times faster than normal. Quantum communication is unlocked. In 5 years, he gathered an enormous following of military officers, scientists, and bureaucrats who have sworn oaths of loyalty to Calzado's image of the future. Humanity expanding peacefully into outer space without war or hatred. A nationless state, the Union of Humanity's Navy rose to the stars with 1 billion in tow. They now reign over the Earth unchallenged by any traditional nations. Old blocks clinging to the land and power of latter days now left behind. The soil they till will be their grave, the stars forever denied to them. And so the year turned once more, as a 22-year-old Lenny Calzado graduated from his own campus at the Washington, D.C. Complex for Trans-Newtonian Excellence. His first job out of college would be as the UHN's planetary governor for Earth, with his special focus on mining and geology, serving the next leap in human technology. The Sol System. While thoroughly viewed from an astronomical point of view, its potential for jump points and trans-Newtonian elemental minerals was an unknown. The first step of the UHN plan would be a complete survey of the system, both geologically and gravitationally. With the need to drive ships between planets, Calzado's broadening science team settled on commercializing nuclear pulse energy, based on the theory that you can chain nuclear explosions behind a spacecraft for propulsion, with the initial process being fed fuel via the trans-Newtonian element sorium. A medium and heavy NPE engine were slated for development to sail the first-generation trans-Newtonian craft. Also on the docket, biology and genetics labs were working on reduced colonization costs to expand the range of human experience in the upcoming Deep Black, followed by a dip into increased terraforming. Dr. Efren Koester was a pioneer in terraforming technology, and the first-generation terraforming space stations were named after their favorite science fiction author, as an homage to the huge leap forward in humanity they enabled. These systems funnel gases through the aether dimension, allowing habitability to worlds on the scale of years rather than millennia. Engineering was expanding mining theories first set forward by Governor Calzado, with a mandate across the board, improvement to all trans-Newtonian industries. Sensor Department was researching electromagnetic and thermal passive sensors, based on technology from the United States, applied trans-Newtonianly. These would be paired with the next-generation survey ships to detect signs of life and technology. In a practical viewpoint, the UHN fleet was sorted into several, currently paper-only, departments. General shipping services would keep troop transports, freighters, colony ships, and civilian navigation on task. Sortie Squadron was a purely theoretical exercise in weapons-based fleets. The Supply Corps would provide bonuses to mining and terraforming ships and stations under its command, and could expect to take a high place in humanity's navy. Survey Command expanded the range at which sensor and patrol craft could operate, assuming Calzado's theories of gravitational holes called jump points was correct. And Training Command would get newly created ships ready for action by trial testing the crew and the machines themselves. Both would take a battering and require downtime after spending a season with Jewel Hunyadi, but be better for it. Calzado's vision of a peaceful future included private shipping lines, and he self-funded the autonomous McGee shipping, in hopes that its commercial success would imbue others among humanity's navy to trying their own hand at freight and colonial enterprises. These shipping lines would not accept commands from the UHN and can set up autonomous colonies, while also being incentivized to transport goods and people for a price. The extraordinary wealth of the UHN was ready to bear that cost, to privatize space. Initial starship designs are somewhat incomplete, lacking engines, so let us turn to space station creation first. The Heinlein-class colony station can be placed in orbit over any celestial body to provide a workforce, and spreading these out to create a string of warm lights in the inner system has long been a goal of the Calzado administration. Unfortunately, while tractor beam technology has been researched, these immobile space stations can only be pulled by equally immobile tugs until the engine technology is ready. Metzen-class fuel harvesters are prepared to suck excess thorium from the uncolonizable gas giants and turn it into a fuel stop. Ships can stop by to top up on a Metzen, or a tanker can fully drain it for transport elsewhere. Such space stations are expected to operate for decades with little to no interference or activity otherwise. While Jupiter has yet to be checked for thorium, its presence is almost guaranteed according to Calzado's theorems. Weir-class space stations are terraforming platforms meant for decade-long deployment over a celestial body, accomplishing their mission and being moved on. Initial plans to terraform Earth's moon Luna, followed by Mars and Mercury, are at the top of the Action Committee's list, irregardless of the mineral content of the Sol system. Simply getting humans off-world increases the species' chance of survival from a so-called apocalyptic event. Multiple colony worlds also greatly increase the pressure for independent, private, commercial industries to take action. The Asimov-class survey craft is the first-generation ship, meant for a 5-year mission of exploration. Once it has proper engines, it will make a slow path through the inner system. Endurance is the watchword on this vessel, with deep maintenance bays and huge fuel storage. Multiple officer stations have been added to the bridge, not only to enhance effectiveness, but to train the young officers of this generation to captain their own next-generation vessels in the future. Abbott-class tugs have supermassive fuel holds, and will be given multiple engines to aid in dragging space stations around. These tugs will be made as fast as current engine technology will allow, for their speed while hauling objects is relative to the size between two objects, and colony stations are sizable indeed. Earth's Academy, the Washington, D.C. complex for Trans-Newtonian Excellence, is under the care of the 24-year-old Dr. Lily Shinoda. Academies create new officers, scientists, and bureaucrats for burgeoning empires. Dr. Shinoda, as a scientist, will likely mold many minds toward a scientific path. This is desirable to the UHN Action Committee, as many branches of science have no specialists, and thus cannot be fully realized. In the future, a civil bureaucrat may be asked to take up the position, but the plan of the UHN is to set up academies at several colonies to specialize in each branch. The Trans-Newtonian industries of the UHN, operating from 100 countries on Earth, are pumping out expansions to the DC Academy campus. After that, a mandate for mining is prepared. Mass drivers that can be used to send or receive minerals from distant objects. Mines for pulling trans-Newtonian elements from the aether on world are on standby for production. And finally, A trio of space stations, one of each class, is in pre-production. The future of Earth is in steady and capable hands. Finally, several shipyards are set up over the little blue dot. Capital Military Constructions is preparing to expand its tonnage capacity to handle increasingly larger ships as plans for carrier craft are underway. Broaden and Pasquini civil shipyards are working to expand commercial enterprises and to prepare for theoretically huge freighters, transports, and tugs that are to come with engine technology. With that, the United Nations of Earth are marching towards the stars on January 2nd, 2025, as Lenny Calzado and the impossible dream of the Aether become reality.